Hope so you all are doing well. Okay, so let's start the story without any further conversation. Okay, I'm on first, but still I'm doing voiceover. This is the second part of the story. Next day, Yoongi, Yoongi wake up. He see he is on the bed. He sign and sits. Start to wait for Jimin to come. After some time, Jimin come out. After a fresh up, he is his hairs. Yoongi see him and smile from. He know Jimin is still at him because he don't give him time. Yoongi get up. He went toward Jimin, who's his ears with Yoongi take the from him on the side and turn him. Yoongi still at me. He asked, can Jimin make a pout Yoongi your Jimin sign as no. Widely he become so happy. Jimin think he have on Yoongi, and yeah, it's true. Yoongi, okay, I want you have any plan to your Jimin? If we then with me, then I will for sure. Yoongi, and how your with you Jimin look up. Jimin he know well. He said and he said and turned start to arrange his hairs. Yoongi Kim, Yoongi, please, I promise I give you proper time from now on. It just I am busy in what I do. Jimin, I don't set you. Don't focus on your work. All I want you take care of yourself. Yoongi, I know. He and Yoongi feel calm. Jimin, don't do. Yoongi, I will not. He said and Yoongi back. He turned him. Yoongi, please. Jimin see him for some time and then nodded. Yoongi smiled and him. Yoongi, thank you so much. You are best. Jimin, go and fresh up. Otherwise, you'll again start to call you. Yoongi chuckle as he know it's true, but he go. Jimin sign. He also get ready and Yoongi also. They both go downstairs together. They come downstairs together and sit on their chairs. Jimin greets everyone. Mr. Min, where are you? Busy, Yoongi. Nowadays we see you. Namjoon, yeah. You don't even do dinner with us, brother. Yun, we can't even Jimin Young. He spent time with him. Jungkook, if he do, we don't even ask this. They all speak Yoongi turn. He sighed and looked at his dad. Yoongi, nothing, dad. I am in a just solving that. Mr. Min, I understand, but son, but take care of yourself also. Like this, you become now you have to be more careful as now you don't have. He's Yoongi saw Taeyang tell you Taeyang Soyoung, but mom asked me. He make up out and Jimin smile. Mrs. Moon, we are so happy for you both. For both of you, congratulations, Yoongi. You take Jimin. Yoongi, I will. He just said this and his phone ring. He don't even eat the breakfast properly. Yoongi, excuse me. He picked the call and go. Jimin sit there silently playing with the food. Mrs. Min, Jimin, son, why you stop? You eat. Jimin smiled and he nodded. He nodded and take a small. Yoongi come and sit on his chair. Mr. Min, everything is okay. Yoongi, yeah, everything is fine. He said and look at Jimin. Look at Jimin who's playing with his food. Yoongi, what happened? Why you are not eating? I don't want to eat. I am fine, Jimin. Eat something else if you don't want to eat this, Jimin. I am not feeling like to eat something right now. Yoongi, why? You okay? He asked being and Jimin nodded. Taeyang stand up. He go and after some times he come back with the end gift to Jimin. Taeyang, take this, you feel better. he said, and Jimin took the okay. So Taeyang himself is a really good Taeyang Young. Don't take him. Let him take rest. I tell you when it's needed to go. He said, and Yoongi nodded. Taeyang Jimin go and take rest in room. Jimin nodded and she go upstairs. Yoongi, he is okay? He asked, being from Taeyang. Taeyang, yeah, he is okay, Young. He's okay, Young. Don't. It's all so common. You have to see so many things. It just start. He said with a smile, and Yoongi nodded. Yoongi, I check on him. He said, and go upstairs, Mrs. Min. I sent their breakfast in room. She said, and the others start to laughing. Jungkook, Taeyang, Taeyang, Jungkook, I also want to be Taeyang. That's good. He said, and Jungkook seeing him with done face. Jungkook, seriously? Taeyang, how you are? You don't want to, huh? Jungkook, don't with me, Taeyang, he said, and roll his eyes. Okay, Yoongi, come in. Come in, Yoongi, come in the room. He see Jimin. Sit on the bed. He go and sit on the in front of him on the edge of the bed. Yoongi, what happens? Jimin see him. Jimin, you don't go office. Yoongi, no, and I don't go. You are not. Well, how can I go to you like this? He said, and Jimin smiled. Jimin, you stay at home all day. Yoongi smiled to see Jimin smile, and he nodded. Yoongi, yes, I do. Jimin become happy. He feel like his half go like this. Yoongi chuckled to see him. Yoongi, you are looking so happy, huh? Jimin, of course, I am so happy you stay with me, he said, and Yoongi always smile like this. Just stay with me. Yoongi, I am always with you. I promise to take you on a trip when I finish this. Jimin, okay, then I remind you your promise time to time. Yoongi chuckled. Yoongi, oh, that's good for me. And then the door knocked. Mrs. Min come with the food which Mage is holding. She placed on the table and go. Mrs. Min, how you are feeling now, Jimin? She asked softly while caressing his ears. Jimin, I am fine, Mom. Mrs. Min, that's good. You are fine. Eat something. It's important for you. Jimin nodded. He don't said no. He don't want to. She take breakfast for him with so much, and how can he said no? Mrs. Min and Taeyang give this. Okay, take this. It's also. Jimin nodded, and she placed the on the table. Mrs. Min, Yoongi, you don't go office today. I don't know how much it's important. Yoongi, okay, mom, I don't. Anything else? Mrs. Min, no, but you don't go. Yoongi, as you said. He said, and she smiled. Mrs. Min, eat something. I again come to check on you. She said, and go from there. Yoongi smiled to see his mom. She go and she look at Jimin. Yoongi, she is literally me. Jimin chuckle and nodded. Jimin, yeah. Yoongi sit in front of him with the food and start to him. Jimin saw many Yoongi, but he eat. Jimin listen. Now with Yoongi, Jimin, no, it's been almost hours. I am in the room. I want to go downstairs, Yoongi, you can, but after sometimes. For now, you just take rest. It's important, Jimmy. No, I want to go downstairs. I decide. It means I decide. He said, and Yoongi sighed. He gave up. Yoongi, all right, as you said. He said, and Jimin become happy. He stand up, and both go downstairs. They come downstairs and sit in the living room talking and laughing with each other. Yun see Yoongi and Jimin who was talking, and then And then he said Namjoon and Jin and Taeyang and Jungkook. And Dad, I want to set something. He said they all look at him. Mr. Min, what son? Yoongi see that I am 24 years old now. I am enough and also learn business. So I want to set something, Mr. Min. Yeah, we are listening. Said you can see that I feel when I see my brothers with their Yoongi, Namjoon, Jungkook. What? Yeah, no. I don't, said Anjan. Anjan smiled widely. Yes, Jimin Hyung, you said right. I also want someone sit beside me here. He pointed on the empty seat of couch. And the person talk with me like they are doing. He said, and everyone see him, and they start laughing. Jungin, no, Yan, spend 2 more years like this. Yan, wow, why would I do, huh? You don't even spend a whole year when you see Jimin. He said, and Jimin become he looking down. Yoongi, I was officially, and you. Yun so I also someone, Mrs. Min, whom you, Yun look at Jimin, he could speak Yun, yeah, auntie, he someone. As Jimin don't tell him, Jung, I also know. He said, and me too. He said, the three brothers is looking at them being shocked. And so they also like him, right, Youngs? He said, and the three of them nodded. Mr. Min, okay then, if my son like, then we no need to meet him. We do your with him. Tell us when we talk about with his parents, Jungin, Namjoon, Jungkook. At least tell us who's he. They speak together, and the others giggle. Jimin, his young college friend. Jin, both are good friends. Chiang recently, a year ago, they each for each other. Jimin, that's why I spot him. Jin, yeah, his name is Kim Baekhyun. He give the details, each and everything. They are busy in talking with. Mm, okay. Busy talking with each other when Yoongi phone ring. He excuse go on the side to attend the call. He attend the call and see Jimin is laughing and enjoy the time with them. He come, Yoongi guys, I will be back in an hour. Jimin, where are you going? He asked being Yoongi, there is nothing to be. I forget some important documents. I come in one hour. Okay, Jimin smiled and he nodded. Yoongi go from there. Yoongi take the documents from his office. He come in the car and sit. He want to reach home as soon as possible, as he can't Jimin for too long. Moreover, he promised with him. He start to drive the car. It's evening, but the road is clear, so it won't take for him to reach. He stop on the exit. He is waiting for its turning to green when the come and Yoongi tried to handle the but he can't. He opened his eyes slowly and he opened his but he can see, and then see he and other come and Yoongi closed his eyes. Alright. Hmm. Don't me what I write, okay? While his phone is ringing. Slowly people start to get, okay, his phone is ringing and it's just Jimin is calling him. Jimin sit on, Jimin sit on the bed calling Yoongi. again and again. He don't know why, but he's feeling all he want to hear is Yoongi voice, nothing else. Taeyang come and see him. Taeyang Jimin. Jimin Taeyang, you call Yoongi. He is not attending my calls. Taeyang Jungkook call him. Sometimes ago he said he is in office. Jimin sign in real life, but the don't leave him. Jimin really? Taeyang, yeah. Why? What happens? Jimin, he is not attending my calls. Chiang, he must be busy or coming back. Jimin nodded and then Chiang sit with him and start to talk on the random topics. Jin also come and they start to talk. Namjoon is passing from the hallway when Jungkook come. He stop in front of him. Namjoon see he is looking so. Namjoon Jungkook, you are looking so. What happens, Jungkook Yoongi? He said, Namjoon eyes widened. Namjoon, what? Jungkook, someone called me. He said, being as his eyes. Young Namjoon Hyung, Jungkook Hyung, dad is saying, don't tell anyone for now. Let's go, especially don't tell Jimin Hyung. He said, and they all nodded and run. Huh. They all go. Mrs. Min, Mr. Min, Jungkook, Namjoon, and Yeon. Only they know. They all come. Where's Yoongi? They reach and see some people there. Namjoon, where is Yoongi? One of them stand up and see him. Manu Namjoon, I am his brother. Oh, Tim, he said, and Mrs. Minstar, she sit on the chair, and the man explained how he and they all feel like there. And then the man's go. Even his mom tried to calm him, but she also started. They all sit outside of the when Jungkook phone ring. He say it's from Taeyang. Mr. Min, don't tell Jimin anything. Jungkook, he's too good to hear this. He said, and Jungkook don't attend the calls. They all turn their phones. Hours pass. Come out. Jungkook, how's my brother? Oh, you are Min Yoongi. Min Yoongi brother. Well, we can't anything right now. I am so. You can we do the don't know if we need to do again. Mrs. Min, can I see him? He is not in the you can see him, so you can't. He said and go. They all become so on their. Okay, so Mrs. Min and Jungkook, we can't hide from Jim and Dad. He have full right to know Mr. Min go home. Don't tell him on the phone. He said and Jungkook go home. Take Mrs. Min and Mr. Min as they can't stay here for too long. They are old and now Namjoon and Yeon is there. Jungkook come home. Jungkook come home. He enter in the room and see Jimin, Jin and Taeyang. Taeyang see Jungkook. He went toward him. Taeyang, what's all happening, Jungkook? You are why you are not attending my calls? And where are you all? He asked and Jungkook looking down. He signed Taeyang Hichal. Taeyang become to see him. Jungkook go and sit in front of Jimin. Jimin Jungkook, where is Yoongi? He asked as from evening he is feeling he just want to see him, nothing else. Jungkook, listen Jimin. You have to hear it carefully what I am going to tell you. Jimin, what Yoongi he wake up. He said start. Jimin heard he is on his place to to hear. Jimin, you are kidding with me. He said he won't. Said she won't. Jungkook said yes. He's kidding with him. Jimin shake his hand as no. Jimin no. This won't happen. This won't happen. He is saying L fell from his eyes. Jin also him but also and Taeyang went toward Jungkook him. Jungkook Jimin said him Jin Hyung he is kidding with me please. He said and looking at Jungkook. Who's Jin Jimin? Calm down Jimin, I want to see him. He said then Jungkook get him. Jungkook you can't Jimin. He's not anyone. He said then Jimin. More Jungkook stop. I take you but first stop. Jimin listen him no. Jungkook take him as it's Jimin right to be there. Namjoon and Jun sit on the chair looking down when they see Jimin come. Jimin, where's Yoongi? Namjoon stand up to see him. Jimin, Namjoon Hyung, please tell me. Jungkook is saying right. You are kidding with me. Namjoon him to him, but Jimin start to more. Namjoon Jimin, he will be okay. Please don't. Jimin, sit on the wall. Young Jimin, handle yourself. He help him to on the chair and gave him water with Jimin. Jimin, please give me my. Please, said she. Jimin is saying, others looking down. Namjoon. Jimin continues his eyes as when Namjoon sit in front of him. Jimin Hyung gave me. He said, and Namjoon hold his hands. Namjoon, don't Jimin. If you are the Yoongi, don't forget you are the. You Jimin think as a also you think you are like this. It's good for you. Don't you think as a lot now. Think as a now. Don't. What Yoongi do? Huh? He's and what you are doing. So don't be like this. Don't. He said, okay, so of course. Here Namjoon is saying right. We even have to think on both sides. Hmm, that's good. And now, and Jimin stop. Jimin stop. He looking down. Of course, he have to think about the also if something happens. What he said to Yoongi, he nodded. Namjoon smiled to see him. He stand up. They all stay there for almost 2 to 3 hours and then off from the room. Go and call the. She said, being everyone but Jen run to call the. Jimin stand up. He becomes so. Namjoon, what happens is she said, and the come they in the room and Taeyang went toward Jimin. Taeyang, he will be fine. It's okay. Jimin, Taeyang, you go. They don't stop you. Taeyang nodded. Taeyang, I see. He said, then go in the room. Jimin is he is so 30 minutes past when come. Jungkook, how is he? This happens now again and again. I already said we can't set anything. He said and he about to go his store to see Jimin who sit on the chair and who is he? Jungkook is Jimin. Mr. Min Jimin. Mr. Min Jimin look up and see him. He stand up. If you want you can see him. But only you and for 5 minutes. He said he may feel on Jimin. Thank you. His voice is take you in the room. He said and go. Come, sir, she said to Jimin, who froze on his spot. Third last scene. he enter in. He enter in the room, and the room is filled with the silence, just the of the he see. Okay, Jimin, can you us for sometimes? He said to who nodded and go out. From the room, Jimin went toward him. He see Yoongi. There's so many, and he sit on the chair and hold his hand. Jimin, that much? Yoongi, you think I can handle that much? Huh? I am as you. I don't talk with you, even if you me, I still don't talk with you. He said and start to fell from his eyes. He just like if we don't see him, the 5 minutes pass so early. But Jimin feel so many in this 5 minutes. There is so much he's in this 5 minutes. Your time over. He need rest, she said, and Jimin nodded. He stand up, but last time he looked at him and on his forehead. Okay, so this is the second last scene. Namjoon Jungkook him to go home. It's not for him to stay here. What he do when Yoongi don't? She's sleeping. Jimin sit on the bed in his thoughts while Mrs. Min is with him. They don't hurt Jimin for a moment. Mrs. Min sleep for sometimes. Sometimes, Jimin son, it's already. Take some, she said, and Jimin placed his head. Jimin, mom, whenever we had, always by me, but now I decide when he wake up, I don't talk with him for 2 days, so he understand how I feel. I think, right, mom, right? He looked at Mrs. Min. Huh, he's fine. I know he don't. If you he do so don't. Mrs. Min feeling on Jimin to see him. Next day, Jimin come early in the morning. He sit on the chair when someone plays hand on his shoulder. Jimin look up and see his young Jimin Hyung. He stand up and Jim he start his brother. Gosh, don't everything become alright? Jimin Hyung said to him. How can he sleep like this, Hyung? Please. Guy nodded. Guy he too. Jimin said to him, don't be so young. He is and saying this. Guy fell for his brother and then come out after checking. We need to do the again. He so many other right he said and everyone become they don't know what to do. On Kai Jimin Hyung he guys it's just a Jimin, nothing happens. Everyone see Jimin and his brother who's trying to convince him. Namjoon from where I arranged the Jimin Hyung here is same as Yoongi. Guys, sit here. I will be back. I will be back in a minute. He said and go Jimin sit on the chair. He don't know what he do. He feel like he's in a minute right now. They start to do the from morning it's afternoon, from afternoon it's evening. But don't come out sky Jimin, he is him. No one him right now more than his own brother. And then he come out. Namjoon, how is he? He is fine. He wake up within 1 hour. Congratulations, but he need proper rest. He said and everyone's sign in real life. Jimin closed his eyes. He feel like back. You got your back, Mr. Min. Mr. Min, Jimin, he said, and Jimin started. Guy, why are you now, huh? You don't you hear she is fine? Jimin, he is so, I don't talk with him. With him? Guy, yeah, that's good. We don't talk with him. You do right. Now he is fine, so I am feeling hungry. Come and eat something, Jimin. I don't want to, Kai, but I want to. Let's go and eat our favorite ramen. Come here, Jimin. Mrs. Min smiles. So finally, Jimin ate something, and after some time, she. Okay, so 7 minutes scene. Wow. Last scene. They come and they come and Yoongi on the bed is staring the ceiling. You're done staring the ceiling, brother, he said, and Yoongi see him. You make us, brother, he said, and Yoongi smiled lightly to see him. Mrs. Min, you okay? Yoongi, I am fine, mom. Yun, you are okay, otherwise we again have to spend. Mom, don't give us food, he said dramatically, and everyone chuckled. Yoongi also smiled. Yoongi, this sounds good to hear. Mr. Min, how are you, my son? Uh, Yoongi, all okay, Dad. Mr. Min, good. I am proud of you. Yun make all face. Jiang, you from here, but who? You from Jimin now. Yoongi, where is he? Mrs. Min, Kai, take him in canteen. He don't eat anything from yesterday. Yoongi, what? Mom, you guys can him. Something it's not for him. Jimin saw. Jin saw. You don't do this if you take care of him that much. Yoongi, that's not my Young, he said, and then the door opened. Jimin and Sky come. Yoongi see Jimin. He's to see Jimin as he's looking so just in one day, and the moreover Yoongi Jiminy. He called him softly, the urge to him, but you don't look at him. He look away, guy. How are you? Yoongi? Yoongi, all okay, guy. Sorry for bothering you. No, it's alright. You are fine. It's enough. You don't talk with him. With him, Jimin. Jimin San has no yun. Good Jimin Hyung. He also know how much you are doing right. Yoongi. Yun. He roll his eyes. Yun, don't be like this, Hyung. He said, and the other signed to see them. Mrs. Bin, you both talk with each other. We go now. Jimin, no. I also go home. Yoongi, don't be like this now. Mrs. Min smiled. Mrs. Min, don't talk with him, but at least what he is saying, she said, and Jimin make up out. They all go. Jimin is now here, he said Dan. Jimin silently went toward him. Yoongi at me, he said softly, and Jimin asked, Yoongi, no, don't, Jimin. Why you do this, huh? You think I can handle that much? He said, and start, Yun. I promise now, I will not, he said, and hold his hand. Jimin, I become so Yoongi. Now I will make sure this don't happen, he said, and Jimin make a pouch. Yoongi, sit here. He point on the Yoongi, sit beside Jimin, sit beside him. Yoongi, how's my, he said, while Jimin, your is at you. Yoongi, why? Because I make it. Jimin, yes. What I do to get my, he said, and Jimin, see him. Jimin, get well soon, he said, and Saturn. Yoongi smiled to see him. Yoongi, come here, he said, and Jimin see him carefully. Yoongi, Yoongi, I know you don't sleep from last night, so sleep now, he said. Jimin see him. He closed his eyes. Finally, he's on the place from where he. Yoongi see Jimin. Smile he him with the he eyes movement, but it's nothing in front of Jimin. After some time, the come Yoongi sign her to stay silent as Jimin is sleeping. She nodded and smiled. She with the saw him to stay silent as Jimin is sleeping. She nodded and smiled. Last in the third last text. Some and then she asked if she wants something. He signed as no and she go. Yoongi see him sleeping peacefully and he also sleep. It's when Jimin wake up he see Yoongi is already wake up. Both look into each other eyes and each other for some time. Jimin, you okay? You are feeling anywhere? He asked. Can Yoongi sign? Yoongi sign as no. Yoongi, I am all fine. You sleep well? Jimin nodded. Yoongi, you must be hungry now. Jimin nodded. Jimin nodded. Okay. Hmm. So, last scene in the second last text. Do the dinner. The dinner. Mom said I stay here in order if you want something. Jimin smiled to see him. Yoongi on you, huh? Do dinner in front of me, Yunso. You also go. We said something. He said Dan. Said Dan. Jimin chuckled. Yoongi see Jimin is smiling. And he himself smiled lightly and Jen is doing dinner while talking and Yoongi is Jimin who's laughing and talking with him. This is the truth. Jimin only with Yoongi. The door opened and from the combo at Yoongi and ask about him. Jimin stays silent and then an old lady, a kid come. Yoongi see them. He's a kinda shocked to see them. Jimin understand who they are. Last scene and the last text finally. Yun go out to some old lady. How are you? Are you, son? Yoongi, I am fine. Jimin is silently looking down. I feel soft. What happens with you? Yoongi, it's okay. He smiled lightly. You don't. Right after what happens, Yoongi, no, I don't. Please, son, you are my Yoongi. I don't. I in sometimes again and I join my and find that he said. Then Jimin see him. Jimin, huh? Seriously? He think and Yoongi and stay silent and then the old age lady go. Yoongi see Jimin who come and sit on the chair in front of him. Jimin, what happened with you was not right. It's someone do. Jimin said. Then Yoongi stayed silent for some times and then he nodded as he know he can't hide this from Jimin. So hope so you all like. If you like then subscribe and tell me in comments. Take care of yourself. Sarangi. See you in the next video.